So welcome back to Learning Partner. In this project video, we are going to complete a ZoomCar application. So if you are from India, you know what is ZoomCar does. So it's a portal where you can rent a car. Doesn't matter where you are, either you are in Nagpur, Pune, Jaipur, Agra, wherever you are. And let's say you need a car to roam around. So you can book a car from here. Whatever the what do we say, vendor, those who are hosting their car, that will come according to the location, and you can book it according to the rate whatever they have said. You can search and you can set the time also, delivery and the pickup time, and you can get that car. And once your work is done, you can return that car over there also. Again, it's a whole product, so it provides so many facilities that you can deliver that car into another location also, then they pick it up. So many things are there. But how that whole vehicle renting system works, that we are going to implement. I think 2 years back, I have created this API. So APIs are still working, as I didn't make any changes in that. Same video we are going to do, but Angular 19 and whatever the flows were there in the previous video, that we will try to cover. Fine. Now, a project name will be like vehicle rental system. Now, again, like if you are a fresher, now this is very unique idea. Like the previous video was Red Bus booking app. There we used to book the particular bus with the particular seat. It is similar to that, but it has a different concept. And it's again like just like the Red Bus or the Abi Bus, this is a real-time application which you can implement, right? Not just some e-commerce application or some employee management application. This is a real-time domain idea we are going to implement. Now, so what we are going to go now, ZoomCar application is a product. You can host your car also and you can book your car also. So there are two types of user. One who can host the car and one who is going to use the car, means who is going to book the car. So we are going to have an admin panel also where other customer can rent, other customer can host their car, and webs means normal customer who is just going to search and book the particular car. So that customer part we are going to implement. The admin part I'm not going to cover because already we have so much of data available because so many people have already used that API. So much data is already there. So the customer part we are going to use means customer will be able to search the car. He will be able to see the car detail and he will be able to book the car and the my booking. So landing page to search the car, the registration and the login process. He should be able to filter the car, open car detail, whatever the car he want to see, he can open the detail. He can book the car and he can see whatever the booking he has done. Now APIs are over here, pre-api.miniprojectideas.com. So this is the domain where you can see ZoomCar. In that, you will be able to see all the API which we are going to need. So if you know, like this is the actual ZoomCar. And for this, I have created a UI, this. So you have a navbar, you search your location, you enter some date, from and start date. If you click on search, it will land to the search page. Here, only one card is there, but just like that, multiple car card will come over here. Once you click on the view detail, then it will land you to the next page where you will show the car images, car basic detail, whatever we have, and your booking form. Once it is done, then where is that booking? Wait, let me open that. So one more page, that will be my booking. So this will be my booking. Whatever the logged in customer is there, whatever the booking he has done, all booking he will be able to see it over here. Fine. So these are the things which we are going to implement. Now, so as the HTML is already ready, so we will save our time. So we can directly start with the Angular part. As I follow with the same thing, I don't create project from start. So I have project already created, Bootstrap and Fontasm already installed. So just to revise, if you are new, ng new and the project name. This is how you create the project. And then it will ask you like, do you need a CSS or SCSS? So you have to select CSS. Then it will ask, do you need a SSR? You have to say no, and your project will get created. After the project got created, I have installed Bootstrap by this command and Fontasm by this command. Once you install Bootstrap and the Fontasm, even if you want to use Material or Tailwind, whatever, right? You will install it. After the installation, you need to import those CSS into your Angular.json. So this part you have to do into your Angular.json. So over here, fine. So this is what I have done till now. And this is the version. So once you run this command in package.json, you will have the entries of it. See, fine. So this is just the initial thing I have done. And when we create the project by default, we get the app component with some default code, default HTML, right? Now, moving ahead, let me just first run the application ngs. Now, if you want to use my API, make sure this API will run. I have restricted to particular port number. So make sure you run on particular port number, that is port 4209 only. If you are new, if you are already existing a viewer of me, so you already know this. All my APIs work on 4209 only. Now, we will first project is running. Let's check it quickly. Localhost 4200. Oh, sorry, 4209. No, I forgot. So you can see our app is running. Now we have to move towards the component creation. So as we decided, this is like first page, that will be landing page. So we will call it as a home page. So in app component, I'm going to create a folder pages. In pages folder, I'm going to create the component. It's better to create a folder and then put all your component. For service, you will create service folder. For reusable component, you will just to manage or properly do the architecture of your project structure. Okay. Now, so let's open a terminal over here. Again, I'm repeating, like if you already know the basic concept, then only this concept will be, then only this video will be helpful to you. If you don't know basic, so it might be a little bit hard for you because I won't be covering anything, everything from the scratch. I will be just using the concept. So now we have to create the component. So ng generate component, home component. Here we are going to have that landing page. Fine. Means our navbar will be we will put it into app component, but after the navbar, all these things means this is our home component, landing page. This we are going to put it our home component, and search page will also go into home component. Then search car. This is the another component we are going to need, where we are going to show the cars which we are shared. So ng generate component search. This is the next component which we have created. Then booking means booking component is will be responsible to show the car detail also and with the booking form. So booking. And one more component to show all the bookings done by particular logged in user. So that will be my booking. Whenever you create the component name, if your component name has two words, so make sure you use the camel case. So once you create, you get a hyphen over there. This is what we follow when we work in industry. Fine. So see, like it will come. So we created component. Once you create the component, next thing will be you have to create the route. So let's go to the route file. Now this is the empty route file we have got. Project is Angular 19. By default, it is standalone. So you get a constant file. Previously, it was a module file. Fine. Now, first path I'm going to create is for empty route. So path will be empty. Redirect to property. We are going to redirect to home by default. Means our landing page should be there. Path my strategy. We have to match it full route. This is our default route. After that, path our home route. See, if the path is empty, it is redirecting to this. So that's why we need this component, home component. Then path search. We are going to make this parameterized route, but for now, we will just go with basic search component. Let me just copy paste quickly to save the time. Then it will be booking component. Then here it will be my booking and component. Fine. So these are the things we have. So we created route. Now, if we save, let's see now. So by default, if you can see, if you don't have anything on the URL, by default, it is navigating to home. Fine. So our home component is working. This is code we already have. So we have to get rid of it. Now, so as HTML code is ready, so we will start with index page. So from index page, first we have to use the navbar. So this navbar will go to our app component. This is a website kind of structure. You can put your navbar into home component also, but rather than to separate it, app component, we can use it for it. So app component, we have in app component, we have a navbar. Let's save it. So it's not coming because we need the CSS also. So let me just copy the CSS, style.css. These are the CSS which are going to use all over the component. So these are global CSS. So this I will put it into my style.css, the global CSS. Once I save, you see, we got it, the existing. But why logo is not coming? Somewhere they are using this logo. Let me check. Okay, Bootstrap, they were using, and I am having font awesome. So let me just change it. Font awesome 4. Let me see the car icon. We will use that car. Yeah. So because I have, what do we say, Bootstrap in my project. So we font awesome. So we have to use font awesome icon in app component. Let's replace this with this. Yeah. So now you can see that logo is also coming. So we have our navbar, and you can see by default home component is running. So home component means this piece, like from here to the bottom. So this HTML code, we need to put it into our home component. So let's go to index. This is a hero section, and this is the feature section. And we are going to need the login model. So login model we will put into our app component, because there we have our login navbar. So here I will keep our login model. So login model I didn't cover. So if you see here, on click of login, we get the model pop-up, and in the same model pop-up, we can toggle the register and the login form. So from here, user is going to register and the login. Fine. So this we will put it over here. Yeah, we copy pasted. Now remaining thing, the actual home content. So these two section, we have to put it into our home component. Let's save. So see, our application is coming as it is. The navbar is coming from our app component, and remaining part is our home component. Fine. Again, icons are not coming. So might be because of that for Bootstrap. Let it be, but fine. So first page is done. Now first, before starting, because we are going to need login and the registration. So first we will complete the login and the registration process. So on click of this button, we need to open the model pop-up. So while working in Angular, there are multiple ways to open the model pop-up. Bootstrap, I'm talking. Prime ng material, again, there are multiple ways in that also. Fine. So I will go with view child. So we can cover the view child also, like how we create the view child. It's not just completing the project. You should be able to explore all the advanced topics also while completing the project. If you are in the learning phase now, make sure you put this habit. In all the videos, I put the habit also. It's not like the things we normally you can do by document.getElement by ID. You can open the model pop-up, or even simply by adding Angular over here. You can add that bootstrap.just. That also it will does. You don't have to do anything, right? You just provide that hash property. It will open it properly. But try to use view child. Then you will have hands-on experience on the view child also, right? Let's start it from the app component. Now in app component, you can see we have this button for the login and the everything. Now this is the model pop-up. So we have to use the view child. Whenever we have to use the view child, first we have to give the hash property, login model. Fine. Then we have to create the view child into our app component. Let me open side by side so we can view properly. Fine. So in your component.ts, you will be creating a view child. Now what is view child? View child is a decorator. What type of property decorator? View child. Sorry. View child. What it needs? The reference selector. So whatever the hash property name you have given over here, this you will give over here. Then your view child name, login model. Then data type. Data type means what we are going to store over here, reference of that particular div, element ref. But by default, we cannot initialize it. So it will ask you to initialize, but how we are going to initialize? So we will just add a not property over here. So this is how we created our view child. Now, on click of this login button, we need to call a function. So click open model. Let's create this function into our app component.ts. Now, whenever you are dealing with the view child, make sure you always add a null check. So if this dot login model is there, then only we will write so many things. So this dot login model dot native element. This is similar to document.getElement by ID. You get the particular element access. Then you add a dynamic style. So style dot display CSS we need to add. If you know the JavaScript, this is dynamic CSS. Open model, just like that, one more function we will create to close it. You can handle this in a single function also, but just to make it clear, I'm making it like two function. either fresher or even if you're experienced, you should be able to understand. Now this function we are calling over here, and this close model function we will call over here. Click close model. Where do we have again? Yeah, that's it. Let's test it if we are able to open the model pub. On click of it, something is wrong. Let's see what is wrong. Save. Not opening. Let's debug now. So we have to debug our app component. So app, what I did, go to sources, Control P, and write app component. Now I have to add a debugger. So over here, I will add a debugger. On click of this. Wait, function is not getting called. How come? How come function is not getting called? So correct only, no? Let's move it at the top. Not sure why it is not opening. Yeah, now it is opening, but I think that element was not reachable or what. Anyway, so see, now in login model is not null. We got the reference of that element. Once I continue, still it's not opening. How come? Aha. So here we have this class. So we don't need this class if we are going to open. Okay, that fade class should not be there. Now if I open, see, model pop-up is opening. And if I click on close, it is getting closed also. So first task is completed. Now in model, if you see the UI in the in a single model, we have the register and the login also. So we need to toggle the form. So for that, we will create a signal. We can complete that with a normal variable also. But as I said, like we are using standalone. So obviously from 17 plus whatever the new things which we have got that we should use. So is what do we say? Form visible is equal to signal. What type of value we are going to store? So string type of value. And default value, we will set it to, let's say, login form. So we created a signal. Now, this signal, we will use it over here to render either this or that. So at the rate if our signal value, how do we access a signal? As a method is equal to if it is login form. It means in this signal, I have a value of login form, then only I will render this particular form, the login form. I will move it inside here and else to this. If it is not login, we have to open another. Means this form, I will render it over here. Okay, so we created signal. Now in each form, we have buttons also. So you see, JavaScript code was there, or let's remove it. Let's not confuse. Now from login form, we have to navigate to the register. So we have register button. We will say toggle form, and we will pass the parameter register form. And same function we will call from the registration, and we have to navigate to the login. So this we will call it over here, and we will pass login form as a value. We have to create this function. See, when you implement project, there are so many things we have to do. It's not that directly you can start integrating API and so many things we have to do. Now, whatever, while calling this function, we are passing some parameter that we will catch it over here. Whatever the value we get, that we need to store into the signal. So this dot your form visible dot set method you can use. You cannot use directly equal to whatever the value you need to set by using the set method in case of signal. Fine, let's test it. On click of open, you can see login form is there. If I click on register new, something is not correct. Again, some CSS might be there. Yeah, display none is there. Let's remove that because I did that in the JavaScript. So it was suggesting so many things, right? So see, we are able to toggle between login and the registration form. Fine. Now coming back to the API integration. Where are the API for the, yeah, add new user, user ID, name, user role. Now I'm not sure what do I have to pass user role. Let's try passing customer. Fine. So to register, this is the API, add new user, where this is the object we need to pass. Okay. Now we are moving towards the next part, that is API integration. Now API integration we can do in Angular by using HTTP client library. We can use fetch also from the, if you just know the JavaScript or you are from the React background, you know the fetch API. By using fetch also we can do the API call. But HTTP client has so many things, a proper way to write, right? You don't have to again convert to JSON the response. You get the directly response, right? So we will do with the HTTP call. Now, just in the login and the registration form, I'm going to write the API call into component only, but we don't do like that. We should be moving our code into services, but we will start with the basic, then we will move to the advanced part. So in login, in app component API call, we will be writing into our here app component only. Now, whenever you have to write the API call, we have to first go to app config. This is only with standalone. Previously, we used to get app module. So there you used to add HTTP client module, but that is also deprecated now. So same thing you are going to do. So over here in the provider section, provide HTTP client you need to inject. Fine. To make the API call, this is the first thing you need to do in app config. Let's close it. Now, moving back to our component. Now we have to create the form is already there. Now, when we say about form, in Angular, we have two types of form, template form and the reactive form. Possibility in the Angular 20 or Angular 21, we might get React signal-based form also, because the Angular future lies in the signal only. So again, I'm saying like get used to signal, what things you can do with signal, like computed, mutation, everything, whatever you have in signal now, make sure you have it basic idea clear, because so many things are coming along with the signal now. Signal store is also there with NGRX, right? Now, so we will go with template form. Then again, in the next, what do we say, form, we will choose our reactive form. Where is the registration form? So if you see the registration form, user ID is our primary key. We don't have to worry about that. Name, username, email, mobile number, password. Created on by default date we will send. So name, user role again, we don't need to show it into the form. We will just hard code it. Name, email ID, mobile number, and the password. What do we have? Name, email, mobile number is remaining. Fine. So we have this form. Now we have to create the reactive form. Template form. So whenever we have to start the template form, we copy this object. We go to our .ts, we create a variable. So register obj. Here we have to provide the data type. Now we should create a class or interface, but we are just starting, so we will go with any for now. In next component, I will be creating class and interface. So this is my object which I have created over here. I have simply created a register object. In that, whatever the things I have in my API, that I have put it over here. Fine. So now this object we need to bind to our login form. Okay. To do that, we are going to use template form. So obviously ng model. If you have to use ng model, you need to import forms module. Let's add the import, then it will suggest. This is just for the first time. Forms module. This you have to add it over here. Make sure if you have to use ng model, you have to import forms module in the component itself, in the standalone. Okay. Now this object, we can bind it over here. So square bracket, round bracket, ng model is equal to property dot. What do we need to bind it over here? Name. Let me just copy paste this. Password. Mobile number over here. Email ID over here. User role, we will by default set it as customer. And here we need to set the current date. So new date, it will pick the current date. And user ID by default primary key, so we have to set it as 0 only. Let's initialize with empty. Fine. Now if I say we are supposed to get one error. Let's see that error. Once I open, and once I toggle, see, we got one. Wait, how come we didn't got the error? Okay, debugger is there. Why we have got the debugger? So see, we got a debugger. Like if ng model is within a form tag, you have to add a name attribute. So if you are using ng model inside a form tag, then name attribute becomes mandatory. So name is equal to whatever the property name you know, you add it over here. Same, you can add it over here also on the name attribute. This is not something from Angular. This is from your normal HTML only name property. And email ID. Fine. If I save, login, register, now you can see we don't have that error. Now on click of register, we want to integrate this particular API. Let's get the URL, just try it out, execute. So this is my URL. Okay. Now this URL we have to use. Now let's create the API call function. But before that, we have to inject, we have to create instance of HTTP client service. So HTTP is equal to inject. So inject we got from Angular 16. Previously, we used to inject by using constructor. That is what we call dependency injection. Similar to that, we can inject any particular service by using the inject provider. Okay. We need to inject HTTP client service. HTTP client. Fine. Now we need a function. So on register. Like this dot HTTP dot. Let's see our API call. So our API call is the post method. So we have to use post over here. Dot post. Now post function require URL and the body also, like URL and what object you want to store. So URL, let's copy the URL from Swagger. So this is our URL. This we will put it over here. Then second object we need is the object. Fine. So object is nothing but the which object which we have created, which we binded to the form. So our register object. Then we can subscribe to the API call, whatever the response it give, we need to catch that. Again, I'm going with any, but we will create proper interface and class. Now, if you check the response, you get data, result, and the message. This is the object you get from the response. So result is the property what you need to check. See, we got false, and in message we got the error, user email already exists. So there are some validation from the backend side, like email validation cannot be email cannot be duplicate, right? So you will get that. So this property you need to add a check. Means if result dot result is true, you will get to know like API call was success. You can say alert user registration success, whatever message you need to say. And if it is false, you will get the message in the message property. So res dot message. And once if it is success, we need to close the model also. So this dot close model like this. And we need to reinitialize this model also. Sorry, object. So this just like reset, we should reset our form. So this dot. So it will reset our form. Okay. So next time if we open, our form will be resetted properly. Fine. And this function we need to call on the save button or the register button from our model popup. Instead of submit, I will go with button. And here we have to integrate our click function. Fine. So now on click of register button, we are going to call this function. Since this is the first time we are doing the API call, so let's add a debugger and properly check everything over here. And once we get the API call response there also. Fine. Let's see it if you are able to properly integrate the API. Let's try to integrate with test user 2. This is my name. Email ID will be at the rate gmail.com. One more thing, these APIs are open. Everyone is going to use it. So don't use your original email ID or mobile number or even your own password also. Use random value, okay? Test, demo, something like that. Be vigilant. Don't just provide your data here. We can't be sure like anyone can use that data. Okay. Just put mobile number like this. Okay. Password is I'm going at 1122 Let me just get the detail. So username is this and password is 112233. Let me check like what do we need for login. Login also we have to send the whole object. I totally forgot like what we need to pass. I think we might be using email ID and the password only because we have added validation on the email number. So email ID and the password we have to send. Fine. So as I said, these APIs were created 2 years back. So that time, like my knowledge with this kind of multiple project was also limited. So I was not creating extra model for the login, same model I was using. But if you have seen the latest API, you find see for login we have a different model and for registration we have a different model. Anyway, now we need to test it if we are able to log in. So over here we have debugger on. Now if I click on register, see we got our function call. If you hover on the register object, see whatever the data you filled over there, that is coming over here. Right? Now we are making the API call. Continue. We got error, course error. Why course error? 2209. Where do we have to run that? Let me quickly check like on which port these APIs are allowed. Sorry, yeah. So sorry, this is the another API project. So these APIs are accessible on 4206 port. So let's stop the project. We have to run it on another port that is 4206. Make sure you also run on the same port. Otherwise, the error we got, na, just like that error you will also get. 4206. Okay. 4206. Let's type the things again. So test user 2, username. This is the email, mobile number, and the password was 112233. Let's try it now. Register, continue. Yeah. So now you can see we got the response. And if you check the result object, you see result property is true. Means user was successfully logged in. User registration was success. We have shown the alert box. Just an alert saying user registration success. Then we are closing the model pop-up and we emptied this also. Now, if you open it again, see that form is emptied because we emptied that whole object. Okay, so registration part is complete. Now, the login part. So in the login, same model we have to pass, just email ID and the password will be the field. Remaining field will be empty. So same model, I will use it over here, or you can create a different also. And password over here. Here we need to bind email. Again, name property we need to bind. Email and the password. API call is something different. So instead of submit, let's go with button. Click on login. You see what the function name also I'm creating very properly on login. Handle login. Make your function name and variable name is also descriptive. Okay. Now here we have to integrate our post API call for the login. So this dot HTTP again post API URL. So almost URL will be common. Just our method name is going to change. Instead of add user, now it will be login. And this dot your same object, because we use the same object. You can create a different object also, but same model is there required for login and there. So we are using same. Okay. Now same logic, what we have written into our if and else check, we will use it over here also. But yeah, user login success will be there. And once user is successfully logged in, then we need to store some data onto browser. Either you say cookie, session storage, local storage, even service. So there are multiple ways to store, but on the browser level, you need to store some data. Otherwise, how you will identify what's the logged in user, right? So in response, you get the whole object. So that data you will store to the local storage. Local storage dot set item. Set item, we have to pass two keys. So Zoom user, this is my key and value. We get object. While storing the data to the local storage, we have to convert it into string. So JSON dot stringify dot and result dot data. In data, you will get the object. Fine. Let's just add a debugger and debug it properly. Whatever the user we created, by that we will try to log in. Let's try with the wrong username and password. Login. Why it is saying login 400? Mobile number. Why it is saying mobile number field is required? Let's pass some empty data. Really sorry, I'm passing some data so that we don't have that validation. It shouldn't. I will modify the API because I didn't get the time. Now if I click on login, undefined. How come undefined? Yeah. So see, in the message we are getting wrong wrong credential password. Fine. But why didn't go to the else block? Result. If result is true, then only this. Otherwise, okay, spelling mistake was there. Message. Let's try it one more time. So if the user credential are wrong, we will get that error. See, okay. Now let's try with the correct credential. So this is my email ID and this is my password. Login. So now you can see subscribe got executed, and if you check the result, user found, and we got the whole user data, right? Whatever we filled now while registration, we got it with the user ID also. So we are able to get the logged in data, and that we are storing to the local storage. Let me just clear the existing data. Okay, we don't have it. Continue. Login success. Now here you see in the local storage, we have stored the logged in data. Got it? So registration and the login process is done. If the user is registered, if the user is logged in, we should not show this. We have to show that logged in user name and the logout button. So if you check, so this is that div. Now, once we get the logged in data, we have to store it into a variable. So we will create one more variable, logged user data. I'm going with any. On the page load, we need to read the logged in data also because user might reload. So if local storage has that data, again, we need to show that, right? Okay. So on the page load, we will read the local storage data. On the page load means ng on init lifecycle event. So implement on init. And here ng on init. We will write constant logged data is equal to local storage dot get item. To read the local storage data, get item. What was our key name when we stored the data? ZoomCar. So this is by using this key, we will read the local storage data. Okay. Now, whenever you read the local storage data, make sure you add a null check. Because if the user is not logged in, this line will break if you are directly going to use not equal to null. If it is not equal to null, we need to assign that while storing the data. Remember, we converted into string format. Again, we need to convert it back to the object format. So in this variable, we are going to store. So JSON dot parse method we have to use. And here we will pass log data. Okay. Now, this variable will identify if the user is logged in or not. And once the user is logged in, after that also we need to store the data over here. Result.data. So we are assigning value to this variable 2 times on the page load also, and once user login also. Now this variable we can use over here at the rate if this variable is undefined, we will show the login button Or else, if we have the data, means user is not logged in, user is logged in. And here we have to show this one. Let's remove this display none class. We don't need it. And here we have to show the logged in username. So same variable we have to use. Dot username property will be there now. Or email ID we can show. Username we don't have, email ID we will show. Now on click of log off, we need to log off also. So click, let's create this function. Now two things we have to do. On click of log off, first we have to remove the local storage data. So remove item, and we have to pass the key. Our key name is Zoom user. Then we have to make this variable also undefined, because this is what defining like user is logged in or not. Let's check the whole process. So see, as we logged in, so see logged in username is here, logout button is. If I click on logout, see. If I refresh again, same. Let's try login again. So see, so many things we have to do when we have to implement the login. When we work on a project, it's not a small thing. See, okay. So first module is completed, user registration and the login. Now we will move towards the next part. Okay. So I will stop because I record this in, what do we say, breaks. So I will stop it. Again, I will start recording. Fine. So after the login and the registration part, next thing is like, we need to search the car. Okay. Now, as I said, like car data is already there from the admin panel, like APIs were free. So everyone has used it for last 2 years. So if you execute this API, you can see so many data is there already. Okay. So cars are already here. Now we just need to integrate the data, integrate this API. This API is responsible to get all the car, whatever we have. But if you see our form, here we should search the location, and date doesn't matter, I think. Let me find the API first. Get search by location. So we don't need to find, we don't need the search date. We don't need the date. Just if you enter the location, like whatever the location you have, see, search car by location, get all car by location. Let's see the location name, how I'm getting the location. Location title. Okay, so location, just let me see the APIs properly, because APIs were created 2 years back. I also don't remember. Get all location. Okay, fine. So we have a separate table for location. So from here, we are going to search. Now we have two more APIs. One API is like, you can search the car by particular location ID. Means here, instead of search box, you can implement a drop down where you will show all the location. So let's go with that. That will be very easy, because if we keep a free text, we have to use this API. And again, we need to first check like by which location we have the data or not. So this API we will use. So this API needs a location ID. Let's try to filter it out. Get all location. Let's see. For Kharadi, we have location ID 2. Let's try to search with Kharadi Pune. If I pass 2 over here, let's see if we have some record over this location. Yeah. So see, with this location ID, we have some record. If I pass, let's say 4, I don't know like 4 exists or not. Yeah, for 4 also we have it some. Let's pass say 76. I'm just wanted to show you like, yeah. So see, 76 ID might not be there for the location ID. So we got empty array. Okay. So now here, instead of a search box, we will have a drop down. Okay. That drop down should display whatever the location we have. So this location. So this API we need to integrate. We will integrate this API. Whatever the data we get over here, that we need to bind it over here in the drop down. Fine. So in the first login and the registration part, in the component only I have done the API call. See, here only I have done the API call. But now instead of doing it API call in the component, we will create our service. So in app folder, I'm creating a folder, service. Now in this service, I will create my own service. Let's open a terminal. ng generate service. Let's say I'm giving a name as location. For making API call, we have already added it, provide HTTP client in our app config. So we don't need to again do it. Now a service got created. Now in the service, we have to inject our HTTP client. So private HTTP. We can make use of inject also, but as we got the constructor, so that's why I'm using this. So this is what previously we used to do. Okay. So data type will be HTTP client. So in this service, first API call function we are going to write like get cars by location ID, because we are going to pass location ID. By what? We are going to get the particular car registered to that location. Return this dot HTTP dot get API call. Sorry. So get API call needs URL only. See what it needs? URL. So URL is this. Let's copy the URL. This will be your URL. Let's copy this. Let's paste it over here. Now here ID should be dynamic. So we will have a parameter to this function. Location ID. Data type will be number. And this we will pass it over here. Instead of static, we will make it dynamic. So plus. So our URL will be dynamically. So we are just concatenating. So this is our function got ready. But if you see, let's go with 4. So see what data it is going to return. This type of data we are going to get some car data, and inside that car accessories, we are going to get the array of car accessories, because car accessory can be multiple, like color, value. Does it have AC? Yes or no, like that. So multiple car accessories we can get everywhere. Yeah. So see over here, this Toyota car has multiple car accessory. Automatic, true, right? Petrol, and 7-seater, it is 7-seater, it is a petrol car, it is automatic. So multiple car accessories we can get. Now we have to create a class or the interface of it. So what I will do, I will copy this object. I will use convert JSON to TS side. We can create it manually also. Just to save the time, I'm doing this. Why it has created like this? I should have created a separate interface of this. Okay, anyway, let's copy. Now, instead of going with any, I have to create a class of the interface. Means what type of data I'm going to get from the API, that particular data type I'm creating. So here I'm creating one more folder model. So in the first component, when we did the login, I have gone with any. But instead of any, we have to create a class or the interface. So now we are going to hold the data, so we can go with interface. So here car.model.ts. It's a simple TS file. Inside this TS file, we are going to create our interface. So export interface, and then I car list. Whenever you are creating interface, make sure you add I in front of it, because when we work in an industrial project, we follow this standard. So you should have it from your first day. Then we need an object of this also. So let me just copy this. This is inner object. So we will create one more interface of it. I interface, I accessories. Okay. Now here it will be array of this. So array of this like this. Okay. So whatever the type of data we were getting from the API, that we handled over here. Okay. Now in our search component. Now again, let me show you first. So by default, we have this page. Once I click on the search, we have to navigate to this page, search page over here. So now we will navigate with the parameter, because what you search, right? Here you are going to select some particular location. Oh, sorry. Again, I forgot. First, we need to bind the drop down, right? Get all location. This API call we need to do. So let's create API call for this. Then we will move to the search part. So here, get all location. I don't know how I jump to the search page directly. So first we need to call the location API. We will get the location, and that drop down we need to show into the search page. So return this dot HTTP dot get API call. This is going to be your URL. Sorry, let's copy the URL. over here. It's a simple GET API call. So this is enough. We don't have any parameter over here. Now this API call, we need to call on the home page, because in the home page, we have this search. Instead of search, now here we are going to have a drop down. Okay. We are going to need a drop down also. Let's remove this. Let's create a variable selected location to bind to that drop down. String is equal to, I'm going with empty, and we are going to use ng model. So forms model we need to import. Now this variable, I will bind it over here. Now we have to make the API call on the page load. So on the page load, if we need to write something, we have to make use of lifecycle event on init, that is ng on init. You implement it, then you write ng on init. Okay. So here in this component, we are going to inject our service, because this function we need to call in this component. So first we need to inject this service. So location service is equal to inject. What we need to inject? Location service. Now we will create a separate function to get all that location, get locations. We can write the API call in ng on it also, but we should have it everything separate. Okay. Now over here, this dot, your HTTP location service dot. Currently in the location service, we have two API call, get all location and get car. Currently we just need location data. Okay. So result colon. What type of data we are going to get? We created interface of it, car list. So this you need to specify over here. Wait. Okay, now here you see the response of this API means whatever the API we are having over here now, all API is going to return the same response, message, result, and data. And in data, actually, you are going to get the array. So now we have to create interface of this also, because all APIs are going to return the same data, this object. Okay, so let's create one more interface of it. Export interface API response model. What type of data, what type of response you are going to get from all your API? So this message, data type will be string. So data will be any, because sometimes you will get array, sometimes you will get single object. So this you will keep any. Result will be Boolean, and this will be string. Let me just format it. So this is your interface for API response model. So when you return the service, so see what this function is going to return: observable type object, because we didn't. Yeah, this function is going to return observable type of data because we are making an API call. But what type of data? So we can specify over here observable. Again, we need to import RxJS. Wait. This is just first time you need to do observable. What type of data you are going to return? Observable, but inside that what, right? So API response model. This type of data we are going to return. After get also you need to provide the data type. Okay. If you are not going with, if you are going with Enina, you don't have to do it. But when you implement class and interface, everywhere you have to properly provide the data type. I mean, what type of data you are going to send, what type of data you are going to store into variable, everything need to be strongly typed. Okay. So this is now your actual working API call function. Okay. Now, in your home component, here, what type of, from this function, what type of data you are going to get? See, it is showing the response also. So that also we need to specify over here. Instead of going any, here you are specifying the proper response type. We need the import of it. Okay. Then we will subscribe to it. Wait, something is wrong. Dot subscribe now. Result colon API response model arrow function. Now, whatever the data we get from this API call function, that we need to hold it into a variable. So we will say location array. It is going to be of array, right? If you see the location data, see again we have some object. So this also we need to create. So let's create an interface of it. Whatever the data you get from the API, for everything you need to create the interface. You should not use any. That is the first rule of TypeScript. You can use any when you don't know what type of data you are going to get. Sometimes it is dynamic from the API. Sometimes you might get this, sometimes you might get, then only you have to use any. But normally most of the 90% APIs are not like that. API will give you same data type. Okay, let's create the interface of it. Again, you can create multiple also, but you can keep it in the same also. You can create multiple files just to separate, but you can use the same file also. So this is for I location. Okay. Now in home component here, sorry, what was the I location? This will be your data type. You are going to get array of this I location. Okay. Now here, this dot I location array is equal to res dot. See, now it is suggesting something properly. Why? Because we have provided a proper data type to this result. So what we are going to get in the data, we are actually going to get the data array. And this function you will call on the page load, means over here you will call it. Okay. Let's just see if we are making the API call and we are getting the data. Once I reload, ng4, okay. So see, it's a standalone component. We directly write that. So here you can see it is there. Let's remove that for now. We didn't import ng4, so it was giving error. And one more error we got. If you are using ng model within a form tag, name attribute is mandatory. So I think, yeah. So you can see if we are using ng model inside a form tag, then wherever you are using ng model, you need to have name attribute. So same property you will pass it over here. Then that error will go away. Now in the network, you can see on the page load, we have the API call and we got the data in data. See, around 24 locations are there. Okay. So we got the data. That data we have stored into this variable. Now this we will iterate on the HTML. Name attribute, let me add. Now ng4. If we are using ng4, we need to import it. Instead of using ng4, yeah, see, ng4 is a directive, right? That is we have got from Angular 2 only. But from Angular 17, we have got control flow statement, right? So let's use control flow statement. So over here at the rate for location array, and this for loop will go inside our for loop. We don't need this for loop now. Now on value, if I write value dot, see, it is suggesting what properties we have in the location array. This is the power of class and interface. If you provide any, let me show you. If I provide any over here, see, it won't suggest anything. Now there is a chance to make the spelling mistake or something, but if you properly bind everything with the properly data typing, you won't make the spelling mistake. See, now it is suggesting. And here we will show location title. Okay. And we need an option, which is as a placeholder. Here we will keep it as empty and we will say select location. Let's save and check. So see, we got the location. Oh my God, so many dummy data is there. Okay, let it be. Okay, let's just add a bootstrap class. So that will be class form hyphen select. Okay, so we are able to search the selection. Now, next thing, if you see the static UI, once you search and click on search, it will navigate to the search page, but along with what location you have selected. So once you select this Caradian, if you click on search, we are going to navigate to the search page, but with the location ID, whatever the location you selected now, with that you need to navigate. Means now you are going to navigate with the parameter, with the search page. So earlier we created route, which was not having parameter. This is a simple route. Now this search route is going to have a parameter. So colon location ID. I always get confused. Like, do we need colon over here? Like this. Okay. So this is your parameterized route. Now means while navigating to this route, you need to pass the parameter also. Now on click of submit, instead of submit, instead of search, we have to navigate. Okay. So while navigate, we can use from navigating to one page to another, we have to use router link, right? So let's use router link over here. Router link. Now here we will use router link square bracket. Router link also we can use as a property binding. Slash. Our route name is on search we have to navigate. But while navigating, we need to pass the selected location ID also. So plus this dot this variable, because in this variable we are going to get what location ID user has selected. Here we need slash. Let's see if we are able to navigate now. If I search Shivaji Nagar, Pune, and if I click on search, you see we are able to navigate with search and the 3. Again, let's go back. Let's try Kharadi, Pune. So Kharadi might have some different location IDs. See, 2 we got. So whatever the location you select, based on that, we are able to navigate to the search page. See. Now in this page, we have to make this API call to get the car by location ID. Then you will be able to find the car from that particular location. So now this API call we have to make. But now, first we need to read the query parameter, whatever we have, 9. So we need to read the query parameter. So for that, let's close everything now. Now home component work is done. Now we will move to the search component. So over here, whatever the URL we have, query parameter, that we need to read. So for that, let's create private activated route service. This is from your routing. Okay. So this will get you current, whatever the activated route is there, now all data from the current activated route you can read. How? We need the query parameter. So what you will do, this dot activated param dot params, and you will subscribe to it. Result, or let's write params. PARAM colon any. Now here I'm writing any because any type of data we can get in the query parameter. Let's add a debugger over here. Now see, let's enable debugger. Now once I reload, see in the param, I got location ID 9. So whatever the data you have it over here, that you can read like this by making access of activated param. In the name itself, activated route, whatever the activated route is there, you get to read all the data from it. So if you have to read the parameter, you read like this. Now this parameter, we need to store it into a variable. So current location ID, data type, we will say number is equal to, I'm initializing with 0. Whatever the data I get, that I will store. This dot current location ID is equal to param dot. So see one more thing. In param, you can see we are getting location ID. So this parameter name you are getting from your route. Whatever you say over here, na, in that you will get. See, I is capital, so here also you get it. Okay. So whatever the route name you give over there, like that you have to read. Okay. Now we are storing the data over here. Now here we got the location ID. Now we have to call that API. In service, we already created that API call function, this one. So this function has need a parameter. Now again, this service we need to inject over here. So again, location service is equal to inject. What you need to inject? Location service. Now we will create one more function, get cars by location. And here this dot location service dot second function. This function we need to call. This function needs a parameter location ID. We are storing the location ID in this variable, so we will pass this. Again, dot subscribe result colon I API response model, because all APIs are going to return the same. Now here we are getting the error. Why? Because we might not have specified the return type. See, the return type of function is this object. So here also we need to specify just like this. And here also. Okay. Now that error will go away. whatever the car data you get, that you need to store it. Car list colon. We created object, sorry, interface of it. That was iCar list. So we will initialize over here. Array of it we are going to get. Let's add the import also. Instead of going any, we are properly providing the data type. Okay. Now, whatever the data you have, this dot car list is equal to res dot data. In data, actually, you get it. And this function you need to call not on the page load. Once you read the query parameter data, so here you will call it, because this is the place now where you are going to get this data. So you don't have to call this on the page load. Once you read the query parameter data, then only you need to call it. So that's why in the subscribe of this, I'm calling this. Okay. Let's see if we are making the API call and we are getting the data. So see, in the URL C, we got the error. Means we are able to we are passing whatever you have it over here, and we have got two cars over here. Let's go back and let's find another location, Kharadi, Pune. Search. See location ID 2. In Kharadi, we have so many cars. Okay. In 9 location, we just had 2 cars, but in Kharadi, we have so many cars. So whatever the location user select, like that data is coming. Now we just need to iterate. Let's go to the static page, search page. Now we will copy the code. So this is the code, HTML. Let's copy, paste it into the search page. Okay. Now here, that was the JavaScript code we got. So that they have done it. That car data, na, it is over here. So let me just copy. Okay. Let me remove this. Okay. Let's save and check. So see, this card image is there. Now we got the car data into our variable, so that we need to iterate. So car list, we will iterate. So this is the row, this is the column we have to iterate. So here I will use @for on this variable for car list. And inside the curly bracket, we need to put this our whole div. Let's save and check. See, whatever the data we get, that many card got printed. Now we just need to show the data. First image. So if you see the network call, we get the image also in car image URL. So this image we need to bind to the image tag over here. So SRC, this is property, right? So square bracket is equal to item dot image URL. What else was there? Then here we need to alt, we don't need. In car title, we have to show like this. Curly bracket, interpolation, okay? And here item dot brand, item dot, what was it? Name. Okay. Then location, we have to show location ID, we don't need to show. We should be able to get the location. Location ID we don't need to show, because ID, what we are going to show, ID doesn't matter. Na? Primary key, we should not show it anywhere. We already know, like user already know what location he has searched. So we don't have to show the location. What else we can show? Registered on, or wait, uh, I think we are not getting that. In this API, we are getting just the basic detail of car, like vehicle number, color, everything we are, I mean, accessories we are getting, but vehicle number we will get it in the once we open the particular car detail in the detail page. There we will get the vehicle number. So here we can say what we can show. Brand we have shown, image also. Let it be. Location we won't use. And car price we need to show now in this pan. Pricing also we are not going to do. I need to modify the API. Price should come over here, but price is not coming. Otherwise, what's the use of the car? Because we need to show the price. That's how customer will choose like which car he has to go. I forgot to add that price over here. Anyway, I will. Oh no, pricing description. I think this is where you will get everything. We don't have a separate thing. Pricing description. Here you will get like someone will put like 24,000 per night, 500 per night, something. Okay. So string data we are going to get. Let's say when check. See now, data is coming. So I mean, like as I said, no APIs are open, so someone will put anything. So it's not guaranteed that URL will come. Okay. So see whatever the data are filled. As I said, like APIs are there from last 2 years. So everyone have so many guys are using. Again, I have deleted so many car data because that were not having images or something data was not proper. So only some data is there now. So for that particular location too, we have this car. Again, let's go back. Let's select Shivaji Nagar, Pune. So in Shivaji Nagar, you can see different cars are coming. Again, if we go back, Mumbai Zoom location, see only 2 cars are there. So whatever the location you select, that like that, our car data is coming. Okay. So till now we have completed our login process, registration process. On the click of search, we are able to filter the car. Now on click of view detail, we have to navigate to this page. Here we will show the car detail and we have to book the car. And one more part, just we have to show the booking. That's it. So 2 modules are remaining. Okay. So we are able to filter it. Now, if I click on the view detail, it should navigate to that detail page and there we have to show all the detail of this particular car. So I'm talking about this page. So on click of that, we have to navigate to this page. So we created that component. So let me just close all the file. Now that is the booking component. So here we have to navigate. Here we are going to show all the car detail and we will have the booking form also. Now we created the route for that, but that was a very plain route. Now we have to navigate with the car ID, whatever the car you are going to select. So /: car ID. Fine. Now when I have to navigate to this, we have to navigate with the car ID. So in search component, we will import our router link because we have to navigate. Now, so again, like from home component, when we navigate to the search page, we use router link, right? From the HTML only, we have done that. Now this time what we will do, we will try to navigate from the .ts. So both the ways I will be able to explain. How do you navigate with query parameter from HTML and from the .ts also. So now in search page, instead of adding the router link, we will inject our router service. So router service is equal to inject. What do you need to inject? Router service. Fine. Now we will create a function, navigate to booking. And this function will have a parameter that will be car ID, data type will let's say number. Now this function we will call on click of this view detail button. So here click this function need the car ID. So item dot car ID we will pass. Now whatever the ID we get, by that ID we need to navigate. So this dot router service, what we created, router service dot navigate method is also there. Navigate by URL is also there. Navigate method is also there. Navigate by URL is similar to that router link. We will use navigate method. Navigate method. Sorry. Navigate method needs array. First will be your URL and after that you can pass the query parameter. So first part will be your route name. So our route name is booking. So this will go over here. After that, we need the second parameter that is route ID parameter. So this like that. Let's save it and check it if we are able to navigate. Now, if I click on this car, see, I'm able to navigate with booking and whatever the car ID we have. Let's go back. If I click on this Honda, you can see 1276. See, car ID is changing. See, okay. So we are able to navigate to the booking page by the use of router service. Fine. Now, so this is what I have explained from HTML, how do you navigate, and from .ts also, how do you navigate. The search component work is done. Now, again, in the search component, how we read the query parameter data, same thing we have to do it over here. So over here, not in the search, sorry, in the booking component, again, we have to create constructor. Why constructor? Because on the page load, before moving anything, we need to read that query parameter data. That's why I'm using the constructor. Same thing, you can do it in your ng on it also, but ideal way is over here. So private, what do we need? Activated param, activated route. Now this dot activated param dot params dot subscribe result param colon any. And what do we have it over here? Remember, like how you extract the data, whatever the parameter name you give. So here we give car ID. So same we will get. So let's say we will create a one more variable car ID, or let's say current selected car ID. As I said, variable name should be very descriptive. By default assigning as 0. And here this dot selected car ID is equal to param dot car ID, whatever the parameter name you have given over here, same name you have to use it over here. So we got the car ID. Now, whatever the car ID we get, that data we need to get, and that we will show it over here like this, right? So let's check the API. ZoomCar. Now here, get car by ID. Okay, let's see what URL we have. Let's open this 1287. If we pass this ID over here, write out, execute, we should get the single car detail. So see in the data, you got a single car detail. Fine. Now we have to make this API call. So again, we have to copy the URL. Now, as we have already created the service, so let's write all the API call over there only. So our function name will be get car by ID. This will have a parameter. Let's say ID colon number. Now return this dot http dot get API call. And this will be your URL. In this URL, you just need to pass the dynamic ID. So instead of the static, after plus, you will pass the ID, whatever the ID you get. Now, if you observe one thing, this part, see, I'm selecting, this part is getting repeated. So instead of repeating this, you can put it into a normal variable also. So API URL, data type string is equal to empty. And here you will put your repeated thing. Now see, we can put the URL over here also, but ideal and the proper way will be you have to create environment folder and there you put it. But again, like in how do you set up the folder structure there, I have already covered it. So you can see that and you can do that. But for the time being, instead of, because it is getting repeated, so I'm storing it over here. Now here, this dot your variable name plus, then you don't need this thing over here like this. So this is what we are doing. We are concatenating. One more proper way is here I will use tilde sign, then template literal I'm using. Okay, so this dot API URL. After that, you need the method name. So your method name will go over here. You see, either you do the concatenation or you use the template literal. In concatenation, you have to make sure of this plus and the double quote, but here you don't have to worry, right? Like this over here also. So method name will be this question mark ID equal to. Let's remove that static one. Now here again, we need to pass the ID. So again, dollar curly bracket ID, you will pass it over here. So see, now your service file is looking proper because we have moved our repeated part over there. Fine. Now, in your booking component, once you read the data, you need to call it also. So again, we need to inject the our location service, colon, sorry, inject location service. Again, just to remind, like, do like and do comment if you are following my videos, like, and if you are liking my content. just help me grow. Just add some comments. It will help me with the SEO. Do some add your likes also. A small like will also make a change. Fine. Now, so we have integrated our location service. Now we need one function, get car by gar detail by ID. Fine. Now here we need to pass the parameter. So parameter name will be, or instead of passing, no, directly we are storing into a variable. So we can use that. So this dot your location service dot which function you will call get car by a car ID. And this needs a parameter car ID. So this is the variable we are storing the query parameter. Dot subscribe result colon any. So wait, we didn't provide the data type. So let's just copy paste this also, because we know like from all the API, we are getting the same type of data. So now here, instead of any, you can go with API response model. Now, to store the detail, whatever we get, we need to create one variable. So what do we say? Car data colon. What type of data we are going to get? So we already have created an interface of it. This, let's see anything else we have it. Registered on vehicle number. Yeah, so here you see, I remember in the list API, we were not getting the vehicle number, but in the car detail, we are getting it. So now this is the response we are getting. So let's create an interface of this also. Let's paste it. Curly bracket. Fine. Now we need to create this. This accessories, we already have it. So we just need a car model. So like this. Oh, I didn't copy it properly. Let's copy. Let's paste. Now here, interface I will have car. This is for car model. Okay. Why it is equal to, we have to remove. Now inside this we have one property, that is ZoomCar accessories, and here we will have array of that. Something like this only. In the car object we are going to get multiple accessories. Fine. Let's have a semicolon. Fine. So we created interface of it. Now same we will use it over here as a data type. Let's add the import also. So by default will be undefined. So let's add a null, not null check. Now, so whatever the data we get, so this dot car data is equal to res dot data, you will specify. Okay. Now this function we will execute or invoke once we read the local that query parameter data. Fine. Let's just save and check if we are able to get the API call data properly. Then we will copy the UI and then we will bind it. Let's reload. So on the page load, you can see one API call is there, and in the response, you got the car data also. Now we need the UI. So my booking. Just copy the code. Sorry, not my booking. Car detail page. This one. Positive model we don't need. Let's copy. And this will go into my booking UI. Let's save. So you see, we got the UI. Now everything we need to make it means with whatever the data we get, that we just need to bind it over here. So starting from the top, we have image over here. So property binding here, car data dot image URL, you will bind it over here. So this we got. Then previous next we don't need, we have a single image only. So let's remove that. And here we need to bind the our vehicle number. So car data dot vehicle number, car price we need over here, pricing, then accessories. So in accessories, it is going to be multiple. So li, we will use @ for loop on car data dot accessories are multiple. So zoom car accessories like this, and li will be inside this because accessories are multiple. Now here item dot accessories title. Okay. So your accessories will be multiple, registered on. Here you have to showcase registered on date. Car data dot registered on, and we will use date pipe also. So date colon dd hyphen sorry, capital M hyphen YY, small 2dd only. Once, okay, so we are using pipe, so we need to import that also. Let's import date pipe. Without importing, you cannot use anything in the standalone. Then travel, this is your booking form. Fine. Let's see if we are getting the proper data. Yes. So see, car image is coming. What is this? Let me see the UI. Here we should show the car name. I think we forgot to show that. Okay, here we need to show the car title, car data dot. We can show brand, car data dot. What was it? Name we can show. Let's save. So see, now it is showing something. Price also, accessories. Only one accessory is there, I think, for this. Let's open one more. Yeah, so see in accessories we have got. So as I said, like data is not mandatory, data is not proper. You can use Swagger, create your own car, and then that data will be coming proper. Fine. Now, so whatever the car you open, that car we are able to see. Let's try to open this one again. So see that particular car is opening. Now we have to move to the booking thing. So booking thing. Now where are the APIs for the booking? Yeah. So create new booking. If you see the object, what do you need? Booking ID. This will be your primary key. We have to send it 0. Customer ID. So customer ID means logged in user ID. We store the data in local storage, right? So we need to assign it that. From location ID to and to location ID. Now remember, uh, like your, what do we say? This was not needed actually, but I don't know like what thought process I had when I created this API. So we had the location now. So we, let's say customer is going to travel from this location to that location. So we will say from location and to location. So the location dropdown we have to show. Travel date. What will be your booking date? Start time. By what time you will start? Car ID. Car ID we have already got it over here, right? This is the car ID. Then, sorry, pickup address, you need to specify alternate contact number. Invoice number, it is going to generate from the API side. And this also is complete. By default, you have to make it false. So these two things and this ID, you need to send it default. By remaining things, you need to provide. Let's check the form only. Start date, from location to location, pickup alternate. Yeah, everything we have. Now, here, so in the first, while login registration, we have make use of the template form. So here we will see the reactive form, so that I will cover both of the things. Now, but before starting the form, here we need to showcase the location ID dropdown, because see, what's the data type? ID means it needs the location ID. So remember, like we implemented this get all location. So that API call we need to make and assign it over here. But while doing it, now let me show you the home component. So in home component, we have shown the location dropdown over here. So for this, what I did, I created a variable. Then I made the API call. Whatever I subscribe to that API call, whatever the data I get, that and stored over here. The problem with this subscription is like this will create your memory leak. You might have faced the interview question also. So ideally, what we have to do, we have to implement on destroy. Okay, I'm just taking one more concept. And then you need to write ng on destroy. Whatever the subscription you are doing, you need to unsubscribe it also. So for that, you will create subscription list colon subscription array empty. Whenever you are subscribing, so this you will store it into a local variable. What we say location. And this here you are going to get that observable type of data, so that you can push to your subscription object. Subscription, not observable. Subscription object you will get that you will push over here. Means wherever in your component, wherever you are writing the subscribe thing now, you have to push like this, whatever that subscribe, whole this, okay, whole this will have a subscribe object, so that you are pushing into your array you created. Now in enjoy and destroy, as I said, if you don't do this, if you have just this plain code, it will create the memory leak. So it will constantly looking for the changes, so it will consume some memory. That is just the memory leak what we talk. So we need to unsubscribe this also. Whatever you subscribe, you have to unsubscribe when your component is going to destroy. So over here, what you can do, this dot your subscription list dot for each, and in item what you will get, subscription. See the data type. So now element dot unsubscribe you need to do. This is what you need to do when you are doing the normal subscribe. Okay. Hope you have understood this. Now, so in home component, this variable I have created, I have subscribed, and then this variable I have binded to the HTML, but I have to unsubscribe it also. But let's say the variable which you have stored the data, you are only using that HTML. You are not using that in the dot here. So instead of subscribing and writing unsubscribe, you can directly subscribe into the HTML also. Now how? So let's do the same thing over here. So here I will create location list observable colon observable I'm creating. Data type will be what type of data we are getting. Again, we need to format it also. Okay, let's do that because API call response is object and in the data you get the array. So let's do that also. Or if is, yeah, let's do. So we have location data over here, I location. Let's add the import. New observable. Fine. So I have created a simple observable. What type of data I'm going to store? Sorry, not a single array. We are going to store array of I location. Fine. Again, this is advanced. If you know async pipe and everything, map operator, then only you will get it. Otherwise, you can do the same thing what we did in the home component. Fine. Now, what is the spelling mistake? So location list observable we have created. Now in the constructor, what I will do, this dot location service, sorry, location list observable is equal to this dot location service dot get all location. That's it. Now it will throw the error like the response type is something here. So here we need to add a pipe operator and then inside that map, because that function is returning API response model and we are trying to store the data into this, which is having array of this. So different data types are there. So whatever the data we get, that we need to what do we say, modify. We are using map operator to do that. So item is equal to item dot data. So you see now we got that error is not there because instead of reading that whole object, what I need just an array. So array I have it over here. Now this variable which is going to have observable type of data, I can directly subscribe into the HTML by async pipe. We need to import async pipe as well. Fine. Now this observable data I can directly subscribe into my HTML. Where is the location? Yeah. So over here, OPT. Sorry, we need the for loop. At the rate for loop, I have a habit of ng for. Now here we will add a sync pipe. So here you are actually doing the subscription. Instead of writing subscribe and storing into a variable, then unsubscribe, you are doing it over here. So once it's like dynamic subscribing over here and you can unsubscribe. Once your component get destroyed, it will unsubscribe also. So you don't have to worry about the subscription and the unsubscription. Fine. Now this option will go over here. Value item dot your location ID, and while displaying you need to display item dot location title something. Same I will do it over here also. Fine. Let's save and let's check if we should see the car data location data. Okay, so see both of the places we have the location. Now The drop down is ready. Now we can move ahead with the reactive form. So this is our object. Where it is? Yeah. So this is our object. So this we have to, for this object, we have to create our reactive form. Fine. So to use reactive form, first thing is like reactive form module we need to import. In Angular, currently version is Angular 19. In Angular 20, they might come up with one more type of form. Not sure like if 20 or 21 or 22, but signal based form is going to come definitely. So that's the reason you have to excel in the signal, like what you can do with signal, what various ways are there, set, update, right? Computation, everything you should be aware. Now, we have to create the form group. So let's say booking form. This is my form name. Data type will be form group and is equal to new form group, round bracket, curly bracket, enter. Now here we are going to create the form. Now booking ID. So in reactive form, we have the control. So booking ID is my first control is equal to new form control. Booking ID is by default, we have to say initialize at 0. So that's why 0. Then customer ID. Again, this is customer ID. So data type will be integer. So I'm initializing with 0 only. We are going to assign the value from the local storage, but for now I'm assigning 0. Then from location, just like that. Let me just copy paste. From location to location. Instead of 0, let's make it empty because we want to keep it as empty. Then travel date. Travel date is equal to new from control. This will be a append string. Now let me just copy paste and do it quickly. Travel date is done. Then we have start time, car ID, pickup address, alternate contact number, invoice number. As I said, it doesn't matter, like invoice number is going to get generated from API, but we should have that field over here. Fine. So we created our reactive form. Is active. By default, we need to set it as false. Fine. Invoice number, we will keep it as empty. Remaining things are empty. So this is we created a reactive form. Now this form, we need to bind it to our, what do we say? HTML form. Okay. Just close remaining thing. Let's open it side by side. So we created reactive form. Now, whatever the controls we have, that we need to bind it over here. So we have a form tag over here. So whatever the form we created now, this form we need to bind it to our reactive form, the HTML form. So here, form group, and we have to provide our form name. So booking form. Fine. Now, what are the controls we have? Means various element. Here we have to bind form controller name. Just like we were using ng model, na? Just like that. Now here you have to specify your control name. So this is travel date. Where is travel date? So this will go over here. Okay. Again, form controller name. Here we have to bind start time. Where is start time? We forgot start time. Let me copy paste. Start time over here. This will bind over here. Then from location and to location. Let me just copy paste just to save me time. We don't need name attribute. That's why I'm removing. Alternate contact number will go over here. Pickup address to location. Then from location. Yeah. So remaining thing are done. Now on click of book now. So instead of submit, I'm going with button. Click on book. Let's create this function. Now here we are going to make the API call. Fine. Let me just close this HTML file. So see how we did it. We created reactive form. We created controls according to the property name we have in the object. Then we bind it. Form group name we have binded over here, and all the input element form controller name. Fine. Now, so in the service, we need to create one more API call function. That will be post one. Save booking. we will get the object over here as a parameter, colon. We created booking model or not? Let me see. I think we didn't create it, but same thing, similar like this now. You can copy this, you can create it, and you will put it over here. So I'm skipping that just to uh, do it quickly. Fine. So like this, you will create interface over here. But for now, I'm going with any. But here, instead of that, whatever the interface name you create, that you need to give. Return this dot http dot post API. Now, post API is going to be there. So again, URL this dot API URL. Let's get the method name of our post. So create new booking. So this is your method name. Fine. Post API need two parameter, URL and the body. Body means object. What data you are going to save, no? So that object you need to pass it over here. Fine. So this is your API call. Return type, again, same type of data we are going to get. So let's add it also. Fine. Now over here, we have a form, but for API, we need the object. So we can extract the object from this form. How? So constant form value is equal to this dot booking form dot value this dot our location service dot save bookings, and this object local variable we will pass it over here, and dot subscribe thing. Fine. And here alert if result property is true. Sorry, if result, what we said, res capital res dot result is true, we will say alert booking success. Okay, let's see it. Let's add a debugger, and I will need to show you the form also. How do we get it? Fail save all. Yeah. So see, we forgot. We created this object, right? So booking ID by default will be 0, but customer ID we need to assign. So in the constructor, once this form is initialized in the constructor or over here also. So here, what I can do, this dot your reactive form, that is booking form dot. Now from booking form for particular customer ID control, we need to set the value, means logged in user data. So where was our login page and component? So once user is logged in, we are storing the data into this key. So we need to read that data also. So let's read the data and store it into variable log user data colon any. Again, you can create the user instance over here also. Constant logged data is equal to local storage dot get item. The key name will be, let's copy it from our home component, Zoom user. This is our key name. While storing the data, we store the data into local storage, correct? So we need to convert it to again object format. So if log data is not equal to null, what we will do, this dot log data, the global variable which we created, is equal to JSON dot parse, and we will pass the logged user data over here. Now the logged in user data is over here, right? So what we can do, once we read the data also now, this dot your booking form dot controls. From that control, which control we need? Customer ID dot set value. What value you need to send? This dot logged in user data dot customer ID or user ID, we were getting it. Let's try to log in. Username. This was the user we created. The password. login. Let's see the local storage. We have user ID or customer ID, user ID only. Okay. So from that, we need the user ID. So in our form, we are setting the customer ID. Just like that, we need the car ID also. Car ID where we have in this variable, right? So here we get the car ID. So same thing line I will copy paste over here, but instead of customer ID, now my control name will be car ID. And this is the variable I need to pass. Fine. Remaining things we are going to get from the form. Let's save and check it now. Why it is error? So see, cannot read properties of undefined reading image URL. So why we are getting this error is this car data by default it is undefined, and this car data we are directly trying to interpolate in over here. So this is the first thing we are doing. So wherever you are using car data, you can add a null check like this. So see, now you will get it from the next brand. So what we can do, wherever you have car data, that you will replace with car data and question mark. So you are adding an optional check over here. See, now you don't have those error. Okay. Now we just need to test it. So let's say travel date is 21, start time something. Okay. Pickup location, let's say Kharadi, Pune, and I'm going to drop it up to Shivaji Nagar. Address something, contact number. Okay. Now let's add a debugger also. We have added a debugger or not? Booking component dot ts. Yeah, we have added a debugger. On click of book now. Sorry, we started writing and then forgot to complete it. We don't need this over here. Let's again, we have to fill the form. Travel date, tomorrow, Karadi, Shivaji Nagar. On click of book now. So here you can see form value. You get whole form value. See, whatever the data you filled, you are getting over here. Booking ID is by default 0. Customer ID, you can see 446. This is coming from local storage. Car ID also you got from the URL, right? Now let's continue. Yeah. So here you can see result is true. Booking created successfully. So booking is created. Now what my customer ID? Customer ID is 446. Now I need to see the booking also. So get all booking by customer ID. Let's try it out. I pass the customer ID. See, only one booking is there, so I got it. Okay. So this is the API we need to integrate in another component where we can show my bookings. So this is that component. Let's quickly complete this also. We will need one more function to get booking by the customer ID. Get booking by cust ID. Where is our URL? So our URL should look like this. So let's copy it. Fine. Now this function we need to call on the booking component, my booking page. We need to inject our service. So again, location service. We created only one service, but you can create multiple also. Okay. For booking, you can create different one. For location, you can create different one. For searching, you can create different one. Location service. On the page load, we need to call it. So implement on init. Once you implement, you need to write that ng on init event. Let's create another function, get my bookings, this dot location service dot get booking by customer ID. Again, we need to read that logged in user data, right? In every component, we are repeating this code. So instead of that, you can put this code into your service also. Fine. Let me show you that also, like how do we do that? So over here, you can write that code. Sorry. Means every component we are going to need the logged in user data. So instead of writing this everywhere, we can move this code into our service. Fine. This variable we will create over here. Now, wherever you need the logged in data, you can get it from this variable from your service. Now, in my component, we will be reading this data, this dot location service dot logged user data dot user ID. So now I don't have to read the local storage over here. Already we have it. Subscribe from bracket result colon any. Again, you can create interface of it also, right? See the data, my booking list colon any of array. I'm skipping the part of creating interface, okay? But you have to do it. Here, this dot booking list is equal to res dot data. And this function we need to call on the page load. So in ng on init, you will call it. You will have the data. We need the UI, my booking. Let's get, oh my God. Here that UI was generating dynamically. Let me just copy paste this. Some JavaScript code will be there. This is going to be the UI inside over here. And now we just need to bind it. What type of data we are getting? Let's create an interface. So it will be easy to bind the data. Again, our model.ts. Again, over here also, I created a single file, but you can create multiple also. Fine. Export interface. Booking. Again, it's an interface, so we can start with I. And this we will provide it over here instead of any. Let's add the import. Now we will iterate. So this is the column we have to iterate. Oh, wait, something column. Some div, I think mismatch. Why? Let's try to format. Here we have, okay, anyway, got it. We will just bind the data. So SRC again, property binding. We didn't iterate first. We need to write the for loop. My booking list and this complete column will go inside over here. Okay. Why we are getting error? Unclose for loop block. Somewhere now, this curly bracket is there now. That's why it is making error. Once we complete the binding, then we will be able to see it. So item dot, it's not suggesting also. Let's remove this. Otherwise, it will start showing the error. Item dot image URL. Then here, what was it? Brand and booking name. Let's copy this. Item dot brand, item dot name. What else we had? Then status badge. So it's complete. Okay, so if it's complete is there, we will say true. So we have this true span. Again, how it was after H5. If it is completed, we have to show this, otherwise that. So at the rate if item dot is complete. If it is complete, we have to show this. At the rate else, we have to show this. Then we have travel date. So item dot travel date. You can again add the date pipe, but like I'm tired now, so I'm skipping that part. We are getting the location or not. Let's check the API. Yeah, location title we are getting instead of the ID. So item dot location title. Here we have to show the price. Item dot price and car detail. Here what do we have to show? Booking, car owner name and the car mobile number. Means particular owner of that car. Item dot car owner mobile number. Let's save. And in the navbar also we need to add the link of it. Let's add it. Oh, we didn't change anything in the navbar. We just did this. So this variable, if the user is logged in, then only we need to show the my booking page, right? So if it is not equal to undefined, here we will show router link. Did we import a router link? No. So let's import it. Router link. Router link. Then over here, instead of hyperlink, we will use router link, and where we have to navigate our my booking. So this is the route name of my booking. My booking. So this li will be visible if the logged in, if user is logged in only. Fine. Let's save all and let's check. You can see once I navigate, something is wrong. Let's see what is wrong. The component my booking needs to be implemented. Why we are getting this error now? Something strange. What we did? Very basic code we have written. Very plain code is there, right? But why it is giving that JIT error? Booking list. There also nothing extra code is there, but why it is behaving like that? We forgot to remove. Okay. Save now. My booking. Yeah. So see, currently this particular user has only one booking, so that is coming. Let's try to do one more book and we will complete our flow also. Let's say I want to book a car from Mumbai. Mumbai, we just have a Ferrari. Let's open it. Let's say I want this on 28th. Start time something. I will pick up from Mumbai and I will drop it in Pune. Pick up address something, contact number something, book now, booking success. If I go to my booking, you see, I got two booking coming. Now you will be able to understand the whole flow, right? So how ZoomCar might be working, similar flow. Obviously, that's a very big product. They have more business flows and everything, but we covered that, whatever it was here, the basic flow. This is the same. Okay, I didn't add that date pipe, so you can just add it. Fine. So that was it. I hope this video was helpful. Again, I am saying like this is an actual project which might add a value to your CV. Make a project, create your own UI, use my API, create your logic according to you, make design also very trendy, post it on GitHub, Versal, anywhere, Nativefly, anywhere, and put it into your CV, or if you have a portfolio, mention it over there also. This will make a good impact on the review. Again, see this my booking, we didn't test it. Current user is logged in, so I can see this. But once I log out, see, that is not there. Again, if you are on the, once you click on the log on, by default, you have to navigate over here. That also you can do. By using router service, you will navigate to the home page. Okay. So if you are new, please do like, subscribe, do add some comments so that my videos will have some SEO done already because of your, once you add the comment, it will go upper. Do like it also, help me to grow my channel. That's it. Thank you guys.